Creditor pressure needs help. If there ever was one area which we get tons of inquiries about, it's about creditor pressure. And this is a significant size video which looks into creditor pressure. My name is Nick Greer from Integrity Financial Services, and what we're going to do now is journey through what creditor pressure is and what we can do to combat it. So, creditor pressure. As I've said, this subject by far generates the most inquiries that we get from all our clients. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to define what creditor pressure is. We're going to point out what creditors can actually do and what they can't do. And what we can do is identify steps that can really empower you. So, creditor pressure, what is it? Now, creditor pressure is letters or phone calls which can harass or threaten you. It can be any combination of these. It can also be threats of a debt collector calling, threats of a bailiff, legal action or court proceedings. Creditor pressure in practice. If you have 5 or more creditors that you're late with, like if you've got late payments with 5 or more creditors, you could receive up to 25 calls a day from automated messages, mobile phone texts or calls from work, and that's quite significant. You also can get a sickening feeling when the postie comes and you open the demand letters, and some of these could be from solicitors. And the combination of these two, both the endless and tireless phone calls interrupting your day, and also the post where people are demanding that you pay the debts and solicitors' letters, the combination of these two things could really make a significant difference in terms of pressure that it can inflict on you. This kind of relentless bombardment, as I call it, can really have a severe effect on your mental health. Some people go into a low mood, or even more significantly, a depression. They can become reclusive or irritable. Creditor pressure in practice. Relationships become worn and tense. People start to argue. Relationships can be quite tough, in fact. Work pressures can become intolerable due to that hidden, often, pressure of debt, the fact that you're in debt and nobody knows about it. So the combination of all these things can actually become intolerable. It's not surprising people do go into denial. Denial is a natural defense mechanism, or trying to bury the pressures. I know I did, as some of you may know, that I experienced debt myself, and it's not a nice place to be. In fact, I would go as far to say, in this space, it can be the loneliest space on the planet, because we don't often talk about our financial things, our financial matters as a rule, to our friends and our families and our colleagues. So we don't normally share where we are. So often we have to bottle it up and keep it to ourselves, and that can have additional pressures as well. So if you've got the combination of the phone calls, the letters, and not sharing and communicating where you are, then that's a huge pressure indeed. Please, please, please don't underestimate this pressure. It can lead to people taking their own lives. We've seen in our experience the effects where this pressure has been ignored. I recall as when I was in my early 20s of a guy that never pitched up one day and found out that he'd taken his own life as a result of the pressures of debt. I never underestimate that, because the guy had 2 daughters the same age as my 2 daughters, and every time I look at my daughters now, I reflect the fact that he doesn't see his own daughters now because he took his own life as a result of the debt. So please don't underestimate this pressure. Creditor pressure tips to help. Don't think if you ignore it, it'll go away. Take it from me, it won't. Debt doesn't go away. If you think you're going to try and bury it, it's like trying to stuff stuff under the carpet. You still know it's there, and even if you try and put it in the back of your mind, it's still in your mind, it's still in your unconscious mind, and it will start to wear you down. Day in, day out, it will start to wear you down indeed. You need to make a plan. If you haven't got a plan, then you've got nothing to look forward to. You've got nothing to aim at. You're just wandering there, and that's not a good space to be in at all. Do please do an income and expenditure. Measure where you are now. There's another video that we've done already which will give you help on the income expenditure. Please do it. See how much money you have to pay the debts. You've got to measure where you are now, and there's the video that we've already done which will explain how to do the income and expenditure. As I said, there's a video on this, and there's some downloads where you can download an Excel or a Word or PDF version of the income expenditure. And if you need any help, we've got free help there. You can phone in, and our staff can chat through on how to fill in income expenditure. It's absolutely, I can't get over how vital it is to do an income expenditure, to take a snapshot where you are now, because if you don't know where you are now, you don't know where you're going to go. So please do that. One bit of advice as well, don't ignore creditors. They have an escalation process which can lead to legal action. In fact, what happens is there's a process whereby if you totally ignore creditors, the frequency of the calls and the letters increases. It doesn't go down. So please don't ignore them. But you do need a strategy beforehand to know what to do when you contact them. So it's important to do the income expenditure first. After doing the income expenditure, what you need to do is see what money is left and split out the money after your expenses have been taken out in proportion to your debts. So if you've got 10 creditors and you've got £100 spare, that will work out at £10 each. Obviously, if you've got 5 creditors and it's £100 spare, it's £20 each. Obviously, if you owe more on one creditor than another, then what you would do is that you'd increase the proportion that you'd allow to them to the creditor. So, for instance, if you've got one creditor that you owe, say, 10,000 to, and one that's 5, then obviously you pay twice as much to the creditor that you owe 10,000 than you would do 5. So you'd share out the £100 in direct proportion to the weight of the creditor. It is important that you do pay your creditors this money once you've shared it out. It's important you do pay that and you make the regular payments every month. And one very important factor is, just because they may not agree with the payments, they might say, well, we don't agree with that payment. Please do send it. Just because they don't agree with the payment, it doesn't mean they won't accept payment. Our experience is that creditors do not decline payments. In fact, there is a little known law that says that if a creditor declines a payment, they write it off. So take it from me that a creditor will accept your payment, however small. What the creditors can't do. A creditor cannot harass you for debt. Now, under Section 40 of the Administration of Justice Act 1970, there are clear guidelines on what constitutes harassment. If you feel that you're being harassed, then make a note of who and when you are being called and what they are saying to you. complaints can be made to the Office of Fair Trading, the OFT, because anybody that is a creditor will have a consumer credit license, and that's governed by the Office of Fair Trading. So if you feel you're being harassed, harassment is subjective. So what may harass somebody may not harass somebody else, but if you feel you are being harassed, do make a note of the number of calls that you're being received and who's calling you, not just who, in terms of the creditor, but also who actually made the call, not just the first name, but ask them for the second name as well. What can creditors do? Well, in the early stages, creditors can threaten debt collectors, they can threaten bailiffs, and in the early stages, this is quite unlikely that they will take this sort of action. However, things can change. If you ignore your creditors or refuse to make any payments, many creditors will actually go to a county court and issue a county court claim form to you via the court. And here's what one looks like. Here's a copy of a county court claim form. This is a black and white version, but this is a copy of a real one from Northampton County Court, which is a hub for money claim. When creditors go online to do this, majority of the court claim forms come from Northampton, no matter where you live. Normally it's blue. Obviously it's a photocopy version, but it is a blue claim form. So if you get one of those, you really do need to act fast. So if you receive a court claim form, the key thing is not to delay. That's a court claim form there. You do need to act fast because they are time limited. Normally you've got 2 weeks or less to fill them in, and that's from the date they were issued. So you really need to get cracking with those if you do receive them. Please, please, please bear in mind that if you don't fill in the form, that is no defence. So regardless of whether you fill the form in or not, if you choose not to fill the form in, the district judge will have to enter a county court judgment against you, because he's got nothing to make a judgment on, or looking at on your case. So if you don't fill that form in, the district judge will enter a county court judgment against you, and this will be on your credit file for at least 6 years. I mean, after 6 years it does go. However, if you do receive a county court judgment against you, and you pay the debt and costs in full, and I think it's 28 days, if you do that from the 28th day of judgment, then it will be expunged from your record. So that's the only way that it will come off your record. If you leave a county court judgment and you don't pay it off in full, then that will be a sort of a mark against you on your credit report, and it stays there for 6 years. If you receive a county court claim form, after the county court judgment has been made, the creditor can also apply for an attachment of earnings order. Now this attachment of earnings order goes straight to employer, which means that before you get paid, the employer pays the creditor. So it stops an amount per month from your bank. It comes straight out of your bank. Well, before it goes into your bank, sorry, basically it comes from the creditors, from your employer directly to the creditor. So you get whatever's left. A warrant of execution, a bailiff can be employed to enforce the county court judgment. If a warrant of execution has been issued, then a county court bailiff can be instructed, or a sheriff's bailiff or a private bailiff can be instructed to seize goods that you own. Normally what they have to do is take a walking possession order, but once that's been done, it is an offence to remove any articles from your home, and a bailiff can come back and seize them and force a sale at a public auction, and the proceeds will then go towards your debt. So a creditor can do this. The other thing as well, if you're a homeowner, a creditor can issue an interim charging order. That basically turns an unsecured debt into a secure debt. It puts it onto your property, which means if you sell your home, then the creditor gets paid off. Or if you remortgage your home, before the home is remortgaged, that secure charge has to be paid. What the creditors can do. If the debt is more than £750, a creditor can actually petition for your bankruptcy. Sole traders with large HMRC, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs debts, are extremely susceptible to a bankruptcy petition. It's not uncommon for HMRC, for tax, pay-as-you-earn tax or VAT, to just petition for bankruptcy. If it's a limited company, what happens is that HMRC will petition to have the company wound up. Good news is we can help. Creditor pressure. County court claim forms. Debt collectors, threats of bankruptcy, bailiffs. Well, that second one's sorting out your creditor payments. So there's a bit of a typo there. It's sorting out your creditor payments, creditor pressure, sorting out your creditor payments, county court claim forms, debt collectors, threats of bankruptcy, bailiffs. If all this seems like too much, then we can help. We can do this for you and shield you from all of the above. Our debt management plans are competitively priced from £40 per month. Call us now on 0333 666 0666 for help. That's 0333 666 0666 for help. Creditor pressure. Need help? Then please call us. Thank you very much.